Hello and welcome to episode 46 of the Sarah Seams podcast. My name is Sarah. This channel is where I share all about my crafty projects. It's mostly knitting, and today we have a lot of knitting, but we also have some spinning and some sewing sprinkled in today. I have a lot to share with you today, as usual. I have really intense notes today, so if you see me looking over a lot, I'm looking at my notes. I want to make sure I don't forget anything. Today is Monday, September 1st. We are officially in the Burr months. All the knitters know that means it's time to break out the sweaters. Very exciting. We have had an absolutely beautiful long weekend here in Columbus. It has been like high 60s, low 70s the whole weekend. It's been sunny, clear blue skies, and it's felt like a really nice kind of deep breath before we go into the busy, fall and holiday months coming up. So it's been really nice. I hope you've had a lovely weekend as well, whether that was a long weekend for you as it was here in the States or otherwise. I hope you've had a lovely late summer weekend. So to jump in, first I always try to remember to say, and usually I forget, but today I'll remember. My social media is linked below, Instagram and Ravelry, if you are interested in following along there. I also have my email there if you ever want to reach out to me about anything. I post one of these long form podcast videos once a month, so that's what you're getting today. And then on the weeks in between, on Fridays, I post a Friday fiber chat, which is a shorter little bite-sized video where I just talk about something fibery related. So the three that I did this past month were, the first one was kind of a retrospective of Summer Lee's Colorwork Cuff Club Volume 1. So that wrapped up in August, and I showed all the pairs I had knit from the past year. I knit one every month, so I knit almost all of them. So if you're curious in seeing those, definitely check that video out. I will have all these linked in the description box below. The second video was a kind of a recap of my friend Jess, her visit here at the beginning of August. So I'll talk a little bit about that today, but if you're curious about hearing more, definitely check out that video. It was kind of about new cast-ons because she brought a lot of yarn with her, which was awesome. And the most recent one was late summer sewing plans. So I did purchase some fabric from Blackbird Fabrics recently and a couple other things, and just kind of talked about my sewing plans for the rest of the summer and the fall. So if you're interested in any of that, definitely check those out. As I said, they'll be linked below. Next big admin thing is a giveaway. So after this, we'll jump into what I'm wearing and everything else, but I am currently running my first ever knit along, the Scrappy Summer Sock Along. And it's been so fun so far. So we started on, I think, June 21st or 22nd, like the summer, solstice. And then we're going to go all the way through the autumn equinox, which I believe is September 22nd. So we're closer to the end, but we're doing the second prize drawing today. And then there will be one more prize drawing at the end of September. So it's been so amazing to see all of your scrappy socks. It's bringing me so much joy. We've had almost 70 entries, which is amazing. Some people have submitted like 6 or 7 pairs of socks, which you guys are speeding through those. I know my friend Jess has entered like 7 pairs, which is insane to me. So today we are gonna now announce the second winner. So as a reminder, I'm gonna show the 2 prize packages that are still up for grabs first, and then we'll announce the winner. So the first one is what I've been calling kind of like the nautical package. So these amazing scrappy bags, again, were made by my friend Nicole. They're all made using upcycled materials. So you can see there's like denim pocket. Even she kept like the little belt loops. Like the attention to detail is really amazing. The pockets are quilted. There's sashiko. There's just so many nice little details in these. So this is the first package. You get the bag. You get a skein of yarn, which in this one is Explorer Knits and Fibers. The color is Voyagers. This is their Janelli sock base. You get a set of stitch markers that were made by my sister through the company she works for, Red Giraffe Designs. And this set is kind of nautical themed. Very cute. And then you also get a pair of scissors and a tape measure. So all of that is the first prize package. The second prize package that's still up for grabs is the one I've been calling Tutti Frutti. So this one's super fun and colorful. Again, this one has really, really pretty sashiko embroidery, has a little heart carabiner, so cute. The yarn in this one is this really fun pink skein from Undercover Otter. This is an 80% merino, 20% nylon base, and the color is called Would You Kindly. The stitch markers in this set are these very cute little fruits. And this one also comes with a tape measure and a pair of scissors, which are here. So those are the 2 prize packages that are still up for grabs. And now I'm gonna go ahead and announce the winner. So the way that I picked the winner, I used a Google form to accept submissions. So then I had that export the data into an Excel spreadsheet that puts everyone's entries in there in the order they were received. And then I used a random number generator to pick one of the numbered entries. And the winner this time was Anastasia. Here is their pair of socks, really cute ribbed pair of socks with a little pop stripe on them. So congrats, Anastasia. I will be sending you an email because I have your email, and you will get to pick one of these 2 prize packages, and then I will be sending that to you. So look out for an email from me in the next day or so, and I'm really excited to get you a prize package. You will also get a copy of the pattern, the Altered Mitered Socks by Austin Taylor. Here's a photo of those. Austin generously donated their pattern to the giveaway winners. So you'll get the prize package of your choosing and a copy of this pattern. So thank you so much for entering. Thank you to everyone that's entered. It brings me so much joy to look through all the entries, truly. Some of them are so amazing. Somebody, a more recent one was like, they were like TARDIS socks, like Doctor Who. It looked just like the TARDIS from Doctor Who. Somebody did a pair that had little cactuses on them. Like some of the scrappy, stripy ones are just amazing. So keep them coming. I'm loving it. I hope you all are loving it too. I'm definitely planning to do this again next year. I think it's been super fun for me. Hopefully it's been fun for you. But yeah, we'll plan to do it again next year. And until then, you've got another 21, 22 days. You've got about 3 more weeks to get your socks, your scrappy socks finished if you still want to do so. And as a reminder, the criteria is just that you need to use at least 1 scrap yarn in your pair of socks. And to me, a scrap yarn is something that you used already in another project, so it's leftovers. So yeah, that is that. If you want to enter, the Google form will be linked in the description box below this video. It's also linked in my Instagram profile. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions, but I hope I get to see your scrappy socks, and there's still 1 more chance to win. So the final giveaway winner will just win whichever of the 2 prize packages is not chosen by Anastasia. So they're all amazing, honestly. You can't go wrong. All 3 of them are really good. All right, so that's all the admin out of the way. Let's jump into the knitting because I have a lot to talk about today. And first, we'll start with what I'm wearing, which is a long work in progress. Finally finished. This is my Midland cardigan by Laura Penrose. So I worked on this for about 6 months. I cast it on, I think, in February, and I finished it near the beginning of August. I made the size 4 for the body with the size 6 sleeves, and I did alter the length. So I'll stand up so you can see it, and then I can talk a little bit more about the process. So here she is. Let me tell you about the yarn too, because I'm obsessed with this yarn. So this is the Sunday Morning DK by Sonder Yarn Co. It's 75% BFL, 25% Masham, and the color is Rom-Com, which is great. Great name for it. It is just this perfect like pinky purple, and I have to say I finished this around the beginning of August, and I have already worn it like 4 or 5 times. I really love it. Jess helped me put the finishing touches on it when she was here. She finished some of my tubular bind offs for me because I was struggling. I managed to do the hem, and then I could not for the life of me get the sleeves right. So a tubular bind off is something I need to work on. But yes, I love the fit. I think the V-neck, it fits perfectly. I have tended to wear it buttoned up. I haven't, just because I like how it looks that way, I haven't really tried wearing it unbuttoned yet, but if I did, I don't think I would have any issue with it like falling off my shoulders. The fit is so good around the neck. It has this, I should say too, it's knit side to side. So that's kind of the fun construction here. You cast on at the underarm and you knit across the body all in one piece, and then you pick up and knit the sleeves. I did knit the sleeves in the round and garter, so I was alternating knit and purl rows for the sleeves. There is also an option to knit them flat if you don't want to do that, but there's really not too much sleeve because it's a drop shoulder, so that was fine for me. It has this really pretty slip stitch detail that runs all the way down the arm. And something I wasn't sure I would like, and this is a design feature, but the slip stitch detail kind of rolls to the front of your shoulder intentionally. It's designed to be that way. And at first I wasn't sure if I was gonna love that. I thought maybe it was gonna make me look a little bit hunched, but after wearing it a few times, I really don't mind it. I think it would have been just as fine if it just came to the high shoulder point, but I do think it's a nice detail. So major thing here was my size and length alterations. And because of the way this garment is constructed, you have to make all those choices right up front. So definitely a little bit of thought had to go into this one right at the beginning. You couldn't really just pick your size and cast on, not for me anyway. So I knew I wanted to crop mine pretty significantly. I think I ultimately cropped it by about 3.5 inches. I have a very short torso. My natural waist is like right here, by the way. Like imagine how short that would be if it came just to my natural waist. So because it's knit side to side, to take length off, you actually have to determine how many stitches you need to shorten it by when you're casting on, and cast on fewer stitches. So I had to make that decision right away. I had to do a little bit of math to figure out with my gauge, if I want to shorten it 3 inches, how many stitches is that on each side, and then subtract that. And then kind of had to keep that in mind throughout as I was working whenever I needed to shorten something. But it worked out really perfectly. I did also shorten the bottom band a little bit, the ribbing a little bit, but I really like the proportions. Also, this was my first ever double knit button band, and I was really intimidated by it. I like put off doing it for weeks, and then I loved it. I actually loved knitting it. Like, yes, it's a little bit slow, but I don't know, I found something about it very like rhythmic. I really enjoy knitting, and now I'm like, oh, I want to knit a bunch of other double knit button bands because it also looks so good, and the buttons just lay so nice and flat. I really love how it looks. I ended up going with these kind of mauve-y buttons. I really went back and forth on the buttons. I had multiple different options at one point. While Jess was here visiting, I had like 10 different buttons out, and I was like, help me choose. But ultimately, I'm glad I went with these kind of similar color ones, but like a little bit more neutral. Some of the options I looked at were more arts and craftsy, you know, like I had those clear buttons with the rose petals in them that I had bought for this cardigan. And while they did look really pretty, it just took it to a different place that I don't think would have been quite as wearable. So I'm really glad with the option I chose. I have, as I said, worn it multiple times already. I really love it. I think I'm probably gonna make another one at some point. I really have been wearing it a lot, and I think it's so professional looking. Like I've been wearing it to work a lot. I've gotten a lot of really nice comments on it. I think a tweedy version would be really cute, and I'd probably try to knit a second one like the exact same way. I really love the fit of this one. So only other thing, as I said, was that I knit the size 6 for the sleeves and the size 4 for the body. So based on Laura's size charts, I knew I was gonna need a bigger size for the sleeve. And thankfully that was really easy to do in this version. I did the seamed version. There's also a seamless version. There's a lot of options in this pattern. And doing the seamed version, it was super easy. I just seamed the size 6 amount of stitches for the side seam instead of the size 4. So the opening for my armhole was the size 6, and then I just carried on from there. So that was a pretty easy modification. I definitely knit the sleeves shorter than the pattern called for by quite a bit. And I will say when I first took this off the blocking mats, I was afraid it was like way too big. The sleeves were really long. They definitely grew a lot in blocking because of the garter stitch. And the body also was a bit longer than I wanted and a bit bigger. and I actually just popped it in the dryer for like 5 or 6 minutes, and it kind of shrank up to like the exact perfect size. So now I know whenever it needs to be put back in shape a little bit, I can just pop it in the dryer for a few minutes, and that seemed to help. The yarn's holding up really nicely. I haven't really seen any, there's like maybe a tiny bit of pilling on it, but I really haven't seen much, and I'm loving it. I would love to use this yarn again. Yeah, really great knitting experience. It's a fun one. Now that I've done it once and I'm no longer intimidated by like the double knit button band and some of the processes of this project, I think a second one would go much quicker. So I do have another one planned in my future. I don't have specific yarn picked out for that yet, but I do think a Tweety version would be really fun, like maybe in Hedgehog Fibers Tweety or La Bien Aimée Tweety or something like that. So that's the Midland cardigan. This one was on the needles for a long time. Really happy to have it finished and just in time to wear for fall. So I'm loving it. All right, now I have a bunch of sock FOs. All right, let's see. These are crazy, the first one. So this year, for the second time, I participated in Stephen West's Surprise Sock Along, which is kind of like an appetizer to the mystery shawl knit along. So the shawl is in October and the surprise sock along is in August. But it's the same kind of idea. Like each week over 4 weeks, he releases a clue and then you knit it up and it's a mystery and it's fun. And I finished this year's pair and they're so crazy. So this year, the theme was Delectable Collectibles, I believe. It was kind of inspired by like little candies. Here they are. So they're pretty wild. I'll just show you one, but I do have them both. So we started with some twisted ribbing, and then we had a Latvian braid. There's 5 colors. We had these fun little dip stitches, this little dip stitch with reverse stockinette. I love this little slip stitch technique. We used this in last year's shawl MCAL. There was of course some 2-color brioche, some slip stitches. The heel was this kind of fun like wedge heel. And then on the foot, we've got more fun little repeating patterns, a little like waffle section. This little slip stitch section was really fun. And then some stripes on the toe. So yeah, they're pretty wild, but they were really fun. They also look huge, and I felt the same way about last year's pair. Like they looked really big off body, but they fit really well. I think the stitch count is 72 stitches, which normally I would do 64, but a lot of these stitch techniques are more restrictive in their stretch. Like a lot of the slip stitches kind of restrict the fit. So I think they tend to look a little bit bigger, but then they fit really well. So yeah, they're kind of wild. I love the colors that I ended up choosing. These all were Coats & Co. colors that I purchased recently at So to Speak. And I do have them all here if I can quickly go through. So the dark burgundy, that was the color Mulberry. And this is their cottage sock base, which is 75-25 blend. Let's see, what are you? The light green here, that is pistachio. This is dark teal. The light pinky color is called lilac, and then the bright neon pink is called fuchsia. So these were really, really fun. I really like the Coats & Co. yarn. I think their colors are super fun and vibrant. They have a little bit of a Christmassy feel to me. I don't know if it's just like the burgundy and the pink and the green or what, but yeah, they were super fun to knit. Definitely a little bit more conventional than last year's, where we were knitting the leg like flat. Last year was a little bit more experimental, but yeah, I really enjoyed these this year. It got me hyped for the West Knits MCAL coming out next month. And yeah, now I have these really crazy socks. Oh, one thing I did want to say, all year, whenever I finish a pair of socks, I've been knitting like a little miniature sock to go along with it. And I have decided this month I'm gonna go ahead and stop doing that now because I have so many already, definitely enough for a cute little garland. And the first 2 pairs of socks I knit this month, it was pretty impossible for me to make a mini one. So one was these, and I was like, I don't know how I would even begin to make a mini one. And also, to be honest, I kind of was getting to the point where it felt a little bit like a chore. Like I would finish a pair of socks and be like, oh, I have to make the little one. And that's not fun, you know, I want it to be fun. So I decided I'm gonna just go ahead and stop doing those because I definitely have enough to make a cute garland already. So yeah, those are my West Knits Surprise Sock Along Delectable Collectible socks for this year. Next pair of socks. These are one of my personal entries for the Scrappy Summer Sock Along, and they may not look it, but I will explain. So here they are. So this is actually the leftovers of an Advent sock skein from the Cozy Knitter from a couple years ago. And Jess gave me these, I think last year when I visited her in North Carolina. And usually with these Advent sock skeins, you get 2 full repeats of the striping. And so Jess gave me the second repeat of hers, and I was able to get a full, beautiful pair of socks out of them. I did have to supplement the cream mini a little bit, but honestly, not that much. I think it was really only, I ran up, so I did cuff, heel, and toe. It's an afterthought heel, so I basically just knit the tube of all the stripes and then added the heel and the toe at the end. And I was able to get both cuffs, both toes, almost both toes. I think I had to finish the last like 3 or 4 rows of one with a different ball of cream, and one heel with a different ball. But yeah, I was able to get almost this entire pair of socks out of the leftovers from her Advent. So these are Scrappy Advent socks. And I really love this Advent. It's super, super beautiful. This kind of pastel rainbow. I think these are super fun. Actually, they look cute with my cardigan, don't they? I love how they turned out. I cannot wait to wear these. And thanks to Jess for gifting me the yarn. And this was another one where I was like, how could I possibly knit the mini sock? I used every scrap of this yarn. All of it is gone. So there was nothing to make a mini one with. So yeah, but I really enjoyed knitting these just like vanilla socks alongside the crazy West Knit socks. It was a good combo. One more pair of socks that I wasn't really planning to have finished this month, but I've just finished teaching my first class at So to Speak, which is a local yarn and fabric store, and I just taught my first session of Sock Knitting 101. So I released the basic DK sock pattern. I can put a picture of it on the screen for my class, but you are able to download this as a free download on Ravelry if you're interested. It's just a basic DK vanilla sock pattern. It is a free download if I didn't already say that. If you're interested, definitely check it out. And so with my class, I knit one. So I knit one of these. I do not remember what this yarn is. I got it in a D-stash. I'm pretty sure it was Madeline Tosh, but I cannot remember the color name. But I wasn't crazy about this yarn in the ball, but it is really beautiful knit up. Like, look at all those fall colors, and the distribution of the color and the speckles is just really, really nice. So I finished the second sock. And I started working on, I finished the first one, and I had started working on the second one at craft night a few weeks ago, and my mom saw these and she was like, oh, I kind of like those. I kind of like, that's pretty. And I was like, well, do you want them? And she was like, yes. So I went ahead and finished the second one, and these are going to be a gift for my mom. So Mom, if you're watching, your socks are done. They're coming your way soon. So yeah, they turned out really, really pretty. They're just like quintessential fall colors. So pretty. Yeah, so those are gonna be for my mom. And the class went really well. A couple, you know, you're always gonna have people learning at different paces, but a couple people like got well into their second sock. Everybody at least made really good progress and like learned all of the techniques. So it was really fun. I'm looking forward to teaching that class again later in the year. All right, I have one more finished object. Actually, that's a lie. I have 2 more. I have one more that's knit, and then I have a sewing object to show you. So this was a surprise cast on to me. So Jess came to visit, and I talked about this in the new cast ons Friday fiber chat, but Jess came to visit and she was so generous and brought me a bunch of yarn from her stash that she was getting rid of. And one of the yarn combos she brought me was this really pretty, like robin's egg, blue, green, tealy kind of light fingering and mohair, or fingering and Surrey combo. And I cast those on right away as soon as she was here, like maybe the night she got here, the next day, because I was just like really drawn to the color. And I decided to knit the Metropolitan Pullover by Tori Yu, and I have already finished it. So here it is. Oh, I'm gonna have to put a video in, but you can see the color really nice. It's this really soft bluey green with speckles of like gray, cream, and a little more teal. Like it's a very, very soft color. The Metropolitan Pullover is a contiguous shoulder construction. So it has this little kind of faux saddle shoulder, and then it has these eyelets around the sleeve. I chose to knit the straight sleeve option. It has a really nice like minimal finishings as well. Like you just kind of pick up and knit a few rows around the neck, and then it has a rolled hem, and then the sleeves and the bottom edge are finished with an I-cord. So let me put in a video of me wearing it because I feel like holding it up isn't really coming across very well. Here is the video. I really love it. I love the yarn combination. It's so nice and soft to wear. Both yarns are from Craft Me Not Yarn Co. And the color is Egg Basket. It was the merino fingering, which is 100% superwash merino, and the Surrey base, which is 74% baby Surrey alpaca, 26% silk. Really beautiful to wear, really fun to work with. The sweater has a really loose gauge, and I definitely cast on without swatching. And I think my row gauge must have been a little off, and the sweater definitely grew a lot in blocking. So the yoke is quite a bit longer than I would prefer. But overall, I think it works because the sweater has a very like light, flowy, I know the word I kept using in my other video was ethereal kind of vibe, but I think it works. Like it's really comfortable. It's kind of like wearing a cloud, and it has that very soft look to it. So I think it works. I'm happy with it. I would definitely knit this pattern again. I really enjoyed it. It's by Tori Yu, if I did not say that. I knit the size 5. And I would definitely knit it again. I would probably gauge swatch next time just because ideally I would like the yoke to fit a little bit higher up under the arm. But I do think also this yarn combination is just super drapey, which is lovely, but maybe a little bit more structure for something like this would have been good. So I am pleased with how it turned out. I knit it in about 3 weeks. So, you know, it's always fun to kind of whip out a sweater like that. I actually have quite a few large gauge sweaters on the needles right now, and I'm kind of loving it because they just work up so quickly. So yes, that is the Metropolitan Pullover by Tori Yu. All right, and last finished object, which I don't actually have here with me, so I'm gonna just have to put a video in, is the Clara dress by Silver Saga Patterns. Here's a video of me wearing it. I made the size, I graded between sizes, so on the top it's a 46 and on the bottom it is a 50. It's a really pretty simple dress, but it was fun to make. So you basically create elastic channels at the underbust and the waist, and then around the neck and the sleeves. So it's all done with elastic, just kind of cinching it in. I've used this really pretty vintage fabric that is like a dark brown with these like flowers on it. I'm pretty sure it's rayon. I got this at a vintage shop. It didn't have any composition materials, but I'm pretty sure it's rayon viscose. It has really lovely drape, and I made this originally as part of a Ren Fair costume that I'm working on for this fall, which I'm very excited about. I have a few other pieces I'm working on for that. But I think it turned out so pretty. I have worn it actually to work a couple of times, and I'm planning to wear it to an event for a friend's wedding at the beginning of October because it has that perfect like fall look. So I would definitely recommend the pattern. Putting some of the elastic channels in was a little bit trickier than others, specifically the ones that go like at the underbust and the waist. Just kind of marking where those needed to go was a little bit tricky. I couldn't really say that this is like a true beginner pattern. I would say it's like a confident beginner or intermediate pattern, even though it looks very simple. But I really enjoyed it. I could see myself making more for sure. And that is it for FOs. 30 minutes in. Let's pause and move on to works in progress. Okay, I have quite a few works in progress to share with you today, so let's jump into it. I have a couple pairs of socks, and the first one are the Surf Wax socks from Summer Lee's book, The Sock Project, which you have seen these a couple times already, but I took a little change in direction with these. So on the leg, first of all, the yarns I'm using, the dark burgundy is from Northern Bee Studio. It's their yak sock. I don't know, I'm showing you the wrong side. It's their yak sock base. It's 20% yak, 10% nylon, 70% superwash merino. And the color is called the Madam's Velvet Couch. And then the little pop of green is this, which was a La Bien-Aimée color that I cannot remember the name of because I've had it for so long. And these are another pair of my scrappy summer sock-along socks. So the sock pattern has this really cool chevron texture, and it is supposed to be on the whole sock. And I finished the leg and I had knit the heel flap and gusset and I had started knitting the foot, and I just like totally lost steam on these. And I don't know why, but once I got to the foot, I just like didn't want to knit the texture anymore. But I really need to finish these because they are a gift for a friend and I need them to be done by the end of this month. So I was like, how can I make these more enjoyable while still feeling like I'm knitting this pattern, because I really do like the motif. So what I decided to do was rip out everything I had done for the foot and the heel, and I decided to just knit the foot in plain stockinette. So because I didn't want to re-knit the heel flap and gusset, I decided I was going to do a pop color heel. So I decided to just change the foot to stockinette, as I said. So now I'm just knitting away on the foot, and I think that'll be nicer to wear in a way anyway. Like that was going to be quite a bit of texture to have in your shoe. I think they'll be just as cute just having the texture on the leg. And then I will add the pop heel and toe, and I think they'll be really nice and kind of sporty looking. So I've made decent progress on the first one. Like I said, I really need to get a move on these because I need to finish this pair and one other pair that I haven't cast on yet by the end of the month because I'm going to be giving them as gifts. So need to get a move on with these. This is my #1 priority starting today and the other pair that I need to cast on still. I think they look really good. I don't know, something about the texture, I kind of lost steam on it. Another pair of socks I'm knitting on that I am still loving. These are so fun. These are the Herding Hens socks by Stone Knits. And I haven't made a ton of progress, but I've made some progress. I think last time maybe I only had the first chicken done. So I'm making these for my partner, Troy. He likes to play this game online called 368 Chickens, and it's kind of like Tetris, but it's with chickens. And I'm knitting these in the colors of the game. So there's a brown chicken, there's like a really bright yellow chicken, the white one, very classic, and then there's like another shade of yellow. So I finished the leg and I did the short row heel. I have to say, I'm not usually a huge fan of the short row heel, but Charlotte Stone's method gives a really beautiful short row heel. I'm going to use her technique going forward. I don't want to say too much because this is a paid pattern, but if you are interested in a really nice looking short row heel that doesn't have any holes on either side, both sides look really good, I would definitely check out any of her patterns or one of her books. I think it's a great method. It's one I had never tried before. So yeah, I mean, how cute are these? They're just really fun. I really hope they're gonna fit my partner. There's definitely a lot of ends to weave in, but how cute. And then like I got a pair of chicken point protectors to go with them. So I'm having a lot of fun with these. I don't have any kind of deadline for these. I mean, really just like Christmas. I would like to have them done by Christmas, I guess. But yeah, they're really fun. I like to sit down and do like one whole chicken motif at a time. So usually that takes me about an hour, and maybe I'll do another one today because I think I only have 2 more and then this pair will be done. So I don't know what order should I go in, because I was gonna just keep going in this order, and maybe I will, but maybe I should do brown and then white to finish it, so I don't have like, I would have like 2 yellow, 2 brown, and 2 white. Or should I go brown, yellow? Okay, here, let's vote for the next 2 chickens. Should I continue in this order and do brown and this yellow, or should I do brown and then white to finish it up? Let me know what you think. really fun. I feel like, I think I said this last time, but I feel like I'm entering my Charlotte Stone colorwork era after just finishing Summerly's Colorwork Cuff Club, now starting on these. Super fun. So I'm still only on the first one, but I am really enjoying those. Okay, next I have another another big gauge sweater that I cast on while Jess was here with some of the yarn that she brought. So another quantity of yarn that Jess brought was 4 skeins each of these 2 colors. These are partial cakes, but you can see them here. So these really pretty kind of peachy, pinky colors. And the fingering weight one is from Little Yarn Co., formerly Yarn Addict Co. This was from that era. This is her free range fingering, 100% non-superwash merino. And the fuzz is Woolberry Fiber Co., the color Bouquet, and that's their Surrey base. And so she had 4 skeins of this and 4 skeins of this. And we were both looking at it thinking like, wow, it's really pretty, but like it's so close to both of our skin tones. And we were like, how can we make this work for us? So we ended up splitting this sweater quantity in 2. So we each took 2 skeins of the fingering and 2 skeins of the Surrey. And we decided to make dopios. We were gonna make same but different matching dopios. So we took these with us to some of the local yarn stores here, and we each picked a yarn to add to those to make them feel different. So it wasn't just skin tone for us. And it's funny because we each picked very different colors, but they're both very us, and they are both knitting up really beautifully. So Jess picked a lighter, like peachy yellow that had speckles of like a dark yellow kind of goldy orange color. So hers is giving a very pretty like rose gold overall color. And I went with this color. We both ended up buying our colors at Dye Mad Yarns, which is an awesome local yarn store. They dye everything there in-house. And I went with this color, which is called Temperance. And if you don't know, Temperance, wow, my brain, I'm having a brain fart right now. Yeah, Temperance, basically the like no drinking movement started here in Ohio, in Westerville, in Columbus. So that is the namesake of that. And this is the Chester sock base, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, hand dyed in Ohio. The color is Temperance. It's this it has kind of a light peachy base, and then it has blues and purples and pinks. So I wanted something that was going to make this feel a little bit cooler, to make it feel more different. And here's where I'm at. Cast on the dopio. We cast them on together while Jess was here. And just this morning, I split for sleeves. I really love how it's working up. It's getting kind of a cool, like stripey effect. I think it definitely makes it different enough from my skin tone, which is what I wanted. And it kind of has almost like a sunset-y color palette. So it's these like oranges and pinks, and then the other yarn adds the blues and the purples. I think it's really, really pretty. This is my first time knitting the dopio. It uses lifted increases, which aren't always my favorite, but I do think it looks pretty good. It's a compound raglan, so it increases and decreases, or increases at different rates at different points. So you can see it has that nice curve to it. This is a really fun knit. Holding 3 strands of yarn together, it's definitely chunky, it's knitting up quickly. So I cast on the Metropolitan Pullover and this like basically at the same time. And I just kind of powered through the Metropolitan Pullover, and now I'm just getting back to this. So I had almost finished the yoke before Jess left, and I just kind of picked it back up yesterday and then finished the yoke this morning. So I am really enjoying it. I think it's definitely still like the base is similar to my skin tone, but I think adding that blue really helps to take it to a different place. And I am imagining wearing this with like a navy blue skirt. I think it's going to be really, really pretty. Yeah, and like I said, it kind of gives like sunsetty colors. So I'm not alternating skeins or anything. I'm really not worried about color pooling, to be honest. I kind of think sometimes it's cool in a hand-dyed garment to see a little bit of color pooling, like maybe there's a little bit here. I really don't mind it. So gonna just carry on with this one. And I have to imagine it'll probably be done fairly soon. It's just a quick knit. I'm knitting, I believe, size 5 in this one as well. All right. Next up is a little baby knit. So a coworker of mine had a baby over the summer, and she's going to be coming back to work at the beginning of October. So this is something else I would really like to finish this month before she comes back. I am knitting the Holger baby set by Petite Knit. This is the 3 to 6 month size, I believe. And here's where I'm at. So I finished the body. I finished the first little sleeve. So I've got one more sleeve to go on the sweater. And then I need to put the little collar on. And then there's a pair of matching pants that I would love to finish the pants. If I don't get to it, I'm just gonna give her the sweater, but I'm hoping to finish the little pants as well. The yarns I'm using are Cascade 220 Superwash Fingering. The colors are Sand, which is the kind of creamy white. Periwinkle, which is, you know, this one. And then I think the other one is just navy. So yeah, really cute little project, and it knits up really quickly. I just need to like dedicate some time to it. The little stripes are really fun. And then I think the pants will be solid navy with maybe the periwinkle as like the little ribbed cuffs at the bottom and the cream as the little drawstring. At least that's what I'm thinking, or maybe vice versa. We'll see how it shakes out when I get there. So yeah, she just needs a little sleeve and a little collar. So cute and tiny. I really like this yarn a lot. I feel like this might be my new go-to like baby knit yarn. Okay, I've made a very precarious tower of baskets over here. All right, what's next? Let's do a fun one. So July was Tour de Fleece, and that is a spinning event where you just kind of set your own goals. For me this year, it was just to spin every day. And I did manage to finish my first like large project spin, which was 6 skeins that I was spinning for a night shift shawl. And I can show you all of them. And I started working on it, and it's really fun. So the first one was called Nebula, which is, all of these are from Fat Cat Knits on Etsy, and they are all 100% Targhee. So this one's Nebula. You can see it's got that blue, which is, none of the others have blue, so that one sticks out a little bit. Another one was called Beats. This one was probably my favorite, just these beautiful bright reds, pinks, and purples. This one I think was called Heather, just a more tonal, really pretty light purple. This one is Lipstick Diva. So I'm trying to remember all the names. That coral. This one is Tiny Dancer, which is kind of just like a softer version of that. And I spun these all at like approximately like a sport light DK. And the last one was Plum, which is another tonal, more of a solid purple. So as I said, am knitting the Night Shift Shawl by Andrea Mowry, and I am kind of going rogue with it. So I am following the basic stitch pattern and really enjoying that. It's very intuitive. Like once you get started, it's pretty easy to just stick with it. But I quickly realized, because I'm knitting this off gauge, that shawl is written for a worsted weight and I'm knitting it at more of a sport weight. I did drop down to, I believe, a 3.5 millimeter needle, yes. I quickly realized that I wanted to change the shape. So as written, this shawl is a pretty big asymmetrical triangle, but I've heard from a lot of people that knit this that they don't really find it easy to wear, that it's not necessarily long enough as it is very deep to like easily wear it. So I've decided to knit mine as a symmetrical triangle. So I'm going to increase to a certain point and then I'm going to decrease. Whereas Andrea Mallory's just increases out like this and then you get this really long asymmetrical triangle. So let me show you what I have. And I'm sorry, there's a bunch of ends hanging off of this, but here it is so far. So it's so pretty. You can see all the different color play. Some areas have really high contrast, some have pretty low contrast, but that's kind of the beauty of this project, is just like letting the colors play however they end up playing. I love where like the bright red is in there. So the way I'm doing this is I'm going to just alternate my background color, like colors 1 through 6, basically. So I started with the nebula as my background color, and you can see that goes from basically like the cast on edge to like right here, and it's just alternating through this as the background color. And then within that, I alternated the other 5 colors as the little blips, and this is done with slip stitches. And so now I'm starting section color 2 as the background color, which is this. And then I'll move through the other 5 colors and then I'll do section color 3 as the background and so on and so forth until I work through all 6 colors as the background color. I did also realize it was increasing at a faster rate than I wanted, and I didn't want it to get too wide at the, at the point. So I was increasing on every right side row as written in the pattern for the first section. And then I was like, oh, this is gonna get really long. So I decided, starting with the purple section, that I'm only going to increase on every other right side row. So it will now have like a more gradual increase to the point, and then I'll start decreasing and mirror that on the other side. So yeah, loving it so far. It's very intuitive. The fabric it's making is really nice. I think I'll try and do like more of a close-up of the color play because it's so fun. Love it. Really enjoying it. This is going to be a long-term project, so I'm not in a huge hurry with this. We also have the West Knits MCAL coming up, which I will be participating in, so this is probably going to get put on the back burner a bit during that, but I'll be excited to come back to it when we're done with that. Yeah, really enjoying it so far. It feels very rewarding to knit with this hand spun because I was working on it for so long. So that feels really nice. Okay, one more sweater. Actually, I need 2 more sweaters. I shouldn't even say things like that because there's always more. So this one is living in this really fun project bag, which was also made by my friend Nicole, who made the giveaway bags, but this is a big version made with some old cargo pants. It also has stitching details on it, all the nice little touches that the giveaway bags have as well, but this is my Midwest Princess version. If you know, you know. Chapel Roan fans. And this has this fun scrappy sweater living in it. I haven't worked on this in like a week or so, but I did make some progress, so I wanted to show you. This is the Matka pullover from the Lina 52 Weeks of Scrappy Knits, and let me put in a picture of what this looks like because it kind of looks like a bunch of nothing on the needles right now. I pulled a bunch of different scrap yarns from my stash. I'm not even going to show them all to you right now because there's too many in the bag, but this pattern uses like 9 or 10 colors, I think. It calls for worsted weight. I have a mix of DK and worsted, and I did finish the yoke and I got started on the body. So here's my version. It's looking wild, but it's pretty fun. It's a very potato chippy knit because there's so many different sections. So you start with a ribbed neck and it has this little notch at the front. And I don't know if you can see this, but the edges of this are finished with little cables, which was a nice detail. There's then a slip stitch colorwork section, a little bit of a dip stitch section, some more slip stitch colorwork, some little slip stitch, or I guess this is like a knit purl texture, and then we've got some true color work. Now I'm getting ready to go into a cables and lace section. So yeah, it's coming right along. The background color is going to kind of fade from cream to gray to like a dark brown as we go. This one is another one that's on 6mm needles, so it's a pretty quick chunky knit. I'm really enjoying it. I can't tell if it's ugly or not. I probably won't be able to know for sure until it's over, but from the beginning I kind of intended this as like a big oversized house sweater, so it's really just been fun to knit. It's kind of wild to look at, but we'll see where it ends up. Just wanted to give you a quick update on that. Okay, and next I have something really fun to talk about. So the Woolly Thistle is currently hosting their sweater knit along that they do every year. It's a big thing that they do. Woolly Thistle, if you're not familiar, is a really great yarn store here in the US. I think they're in, I'm gonna get this wrong, I'll put the state on the screen. I don't want to say the wrong one. They're on the East Coast. And they carry a lot of woolly wools, European wools. They import a lot of those really beautiful yarns. And I am actually an affiliate with them, so if you should be interested in participating in the KAL or purchasing from them, I do have an affiliate link in the description box below. If you're ever interested, please feel free to use it. It gives me a little bit of a kickback, but it doesn't cost anything extra to use. So if you shop through my link, I get a very small commission, and it doesn't cost you anything, but it does help support the channel a little bit. So that is there if you're interested. But I really wanted to participate in their sweater KAL. It's not too late to join if you are interested. I believe the only rules are you have to use at least 80% their yarns from their store. So I guess that's the only rule. You can use their pattern. You don't have to use their pattern. I think it's just that it needs to be 80% their yarn, and the KAL's running until October 10th. So I'd love for any of you to join along with me if you're interested. Let me know if you are participating or plan to participate in the comments below. And I have a little bit of a saga here. So when I decided to participate, I knew exactly what I wanted to do because this pattern has been on my bucket list for a long time and I already had yarn for it. So I wanted to knit this cardigan, which is the Gramercy cardigan by, I want to say it's Emma Duche. Emma Duche, yes. This was from this issue of Pom Pom magazine. It is their autumn 2022 issue. This is the cardigan. I love the design. It is intarsia, which I really enjoy. It's so beautiful. And I had purchased yarn from the Woolly Thistle to make this. And the yarn I purchased was not the one that was called for in the pattern. It was Let Lopey. And that's because I had been really wanting to try Let Lopey. I thought it would work for this pattern and it was a pretty good price point. So I ordered that a while back. And so when I thought, oh, I'm going to participate in the KAL, like, oh yes, I'll do the Gramercy cardigan with the Let Lopey. Perfect. I had it all ready to go. So I sat down on cast on night and I cast this on and I quickly realized that Let Lopey is not for me. I started having a reaction to it. And I can't remember if I really talked about this on the channel or not, but earlier this year, I knit something using long wool and I had a horrible allergic reaction to it. I got hives like all over the back of my neck from wearing it and on my arms, and it was pretty awful. It was very uncomfortable and sad because I had put all this effort into knitting this garment and then I ended up having to get rid of it because I could not wear it because I was allergic to it. Or I don't know, because I'm not allergic to wool. Maybe it gave me dermatitis. I'm not exactly sure, but I had a really bad reaction to wearing it. And working with this Let Lopey, even just knitting with it for a couple of hours, I started getting really itchy and prickly and having a reaction to it. And I even holding it in my hand right now, I'm kind of feeling it. So here's how far I got. I had cast on the back panel, and I had started knitting the first intarsia section when I realized A, that I was having a reaction to the yarn and not going to be able to use it, and B, I also didn't think it looked that good. So the Let Lopey is a single ply and these are supposed to be cables and they just are getting totally lost in this yarn. I'm sure it would have blocked out better, but I also felt like the intarsia wasn't looking very clean in this yarn. So I wasn't loving the experience of the yarn and I wasn't loving how it was knitting up. So I just decided to stop, cut my losses. I'm gonna rehome this yarn. I will destash it. And yeah, the lesson I learned was when I want to try a new yarn, maybe I should try a smaller project or one skein instead of buying a total sweater quantity's worth. So that was a learning lesson. And you know, now I know that I think long wool, unfortunately, is not for me. I have one other long wool sweater that is a mix of a long wool and a shorter wool. And I have been able to wear that one, but even it is like, I have to wear something under it, and normally I don't wear anything under my sweaters, so I don't have a sensitivity to most wools, but I think I have learned that long wools, Icelandic wools, probably ones I need to steer clear of, which is too bad because I think they're really beautiful, but now I know. I can wear rustic wool, but not necessarily these long wools. So that was my first attempt at the Woolly Thistle sweater cowl. Didn't go so well. But I cast on something else the next day and it's going very well. So I had another quantity of yarn in my stash from the Woolly Thistle, and I was equally, if not more, excited about this one. And this was yarn to make the Nordic Bloom cardigan by Caitlin Hunter. This is from the Nordic Knits book by Lina, and I want to say Woolly Thistle might carry this book. I think that they do. And I had the recommended yarn for this, which is Rauma Vams, which is in, I believe it's Aran weight, if not bulky. It's a pretty thick, it's a pretty chunky yarn. It's 100% Norwegian wool, and it also has that rustic feel, but it's much softer. So this is the yarn, the main color I'm using, Rauma Garn Vams. It is, as I said, 100% Norwegian wool. It's 83 meters to 50 grams. So yeah, definitely Aran weight, I'm gonna say. But it's pretty light. So really, really nice. My contrast color, I've already used it all up, so I'm just gonna have to show you. So I cast this on, as I said, like less than a week ago, like the day after the cowl started. And I'll just show you how much I have done. It's like almost done, and I am deeply obsessed. I could not put it down. This color works so addictive. This is also my first time doing a steeked garment, and I think it's really not going to be that bad, but I think this is a great way to try that out on a really chunky, quick project. This color work, oh my god, it looks even better on the camera. A moment for the color work. I love it. As you can see, my contrast color is kind of a creamy light gray. Wow, this isn't even blocked yet, and it looks pretty good. Very excited. So I had a little bit of a touch and go start with this one too. I cast on the ribbing. It's knit bottom up. I'm knitting size 5, I believe. I cast on the ribbing and I started the color work, and I got to like the second or third round of color work, and I got to the end of the row and I was like, oh my god, I don't have the right stitch count. Like, how did this happen? It took me so long to figure out, because I wasn't good at counting apparently, that I had accidentally cast on 10 extra stitches, and so my color work count was not correct. So I had to rip out the first few rows of my color work, and what I ended up doing was just decreasing those stitches. I did not want to redo the ribbing. So my ribbing has 10 extra stitches than the body, but I think it's not a big deal. Started the color work, finished it in a couple days because it was extremely addictive. It's also pretty quick because, again, this is like a pretty heavy, chunky yarn, and it looks so good. I'm obsessed with it. So then in the past couple days, over the weekend, I just knit the front and back panels. It is a drop shoulder. It looks kind of wide right now, but I think with the necklines added on, it'll be great. I have tried it on. It's fitting really well. It's a drop shoulder, so I just need to add the sleeves and the button band, and then she's gonna be done. So this was not on my radar as something I was gonna like whip out this quickly, but it was just super fun to knit. And I'm also really excited to try steeking for the first time. I'm probably going to reinforce the steek with my sewing machine. I probably wouldn't have to, but just for peace of mind, I'm probably gonna do a little zigzag on both sides. I think you do pick up the button band stitches before you cut the steek, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, here's my Nordic Bloom cardigan. I love her. I could honestly knit like probably like 10 of these. It's so fun, and I'm loving the Rauma Vams. It has that woolly, fuzzy, slightly rustic feel, but it's also very soft. And I feel like after blocking, it's gonna get even softer. So yeah, I might just power through this one this week because I really want to have it and be able to wear it this fall. I can't get over it. It's so good. Oh, love it. I could see myself knitting the vest too. Like all of these like Alpine Bloom, Nordic Bloom colorwork motifs from Caitlin Hunter are just the best. I love them so much. So I will say I ordered the recommended amount of yarn. So for the contrast color, it was 3 balls and I only used 2. I pretty much used all of 2, but I do have an entire ball left that I didn't tap into. So maybe something to note for, let me confirm which size I'm making before I tell you that. Okay, I'm making size 4 actually. So for size 4, you can probably get away with 2 balls of the contrast color. Just a note, if I made another one, I would only get 2 balls next time. So that is my Nordic Bloom cardigan. That is my entry for the Woolly Thistles sweater cowl this year. And like I said, if you're interested in participating, I have that affiliate link down below if you want to check it out. Really, really fun project. Can't get enough of that one. Okay, and last but not least, I just had a couple of spinning whips that I wanted to touch on real quick. So I haven't done a ton of spinning since Tour de Fleece ended, but I have been doing a little bit here and there. One of the clubs I'm in this year is Kira Wiggins Fiber Club. So every month I get a 50-gram bat from her in the mail. And this past month's, August, was Leo season. And here's what it looked like. This is the last third I still need to spin. So it's a really pretty light pink. There's some like brighter pink bits, and then there's this really fun like fluorescent highlighter yellow kind of running through it. And I have spun the first 2 bobbins so far. Here's one of them. So I'm doing a 3-ply, really pretty, very soft. So that's one of my spins. And the second one was a very generous gift from Jess. I'll reach over here and grab these. So she went up to New York recently, upstate New York, and went to CC's Wool, which looks like an amazing shop. I'd love to visit sometime. And she was so kind, and she brought me, she knew I wanted to do my first like sweater spin, that I didn't have that much fiber left in my stash. And she brought me 4 4-ounce balls. So basically 4 kind of braid equivalent amounts of fiber from there, and most of it is Shanico, which she also knew was a fiber I've been wanting to try. So thank you again, Jess. This has been so fun to spin. I will show you the colors. These are little nests I've made. The first one, they all kind of have a white base, but the first one has little tweedy bits of like browns and black. The second one has pretty pink and purple streaks in it of like silk or superwash. I can't remember exactly. The third one has some like autumny tweedy colors. And then the last one is mostly white, but it has like very subtle bits of pink and purple. And I decided to do these in a big combo spin for hopefully a sweater, might have to be a vest. We'll see how much yarn I end up with. And I'll spare you the tedious details of how I broke these 4 braids down into a 3-ply yarn, but that did require a bit of thought on my end. But I figured it out, and I'm well into the first ply, and here's where we're at. So it is looking very, very pretty. I am basically alternating shorter strips of all the different colors, and I'm loving it so far. I think it's gonna end up, you can see here there's like a little bit more of a solid purple chunk, but I think it's gonna end up feeling mostly cream with like quite a bit of pink and purple speckled throughout. So very excited for this. I wanna get back to it soon and try and at least finish the first ply, but I'm not in a huge rush. I'm just really enjoying spinning it. The Shanico drafts so beautifully. It's so enjoyable to spin. I definitely understand why there's so much hype around that fiber. So that's it for whips. Let me clean this up, and I'll be right back with some frogged projects and some plans, as well as a couple acquisitions, and we'll wrap up with a little bit of chat. All right, so let's talk about some things I frogged and some upcoming plans. So let's start with what we frogged. The first one I think I might have touched on last time. So every year I like to do a special like birthday cast on. And last year I cast on the checkered sweater by Nora Gone, which was this really cool, like intricately cabled kind of interesting drop shoulder construction sweater. And this birthday cast on was more about the yarn than the pattern. It is the La Bien-Aimée Corey worsted in the color Payne's Gray, which is special to me. It's a very dark bluish gray, but that yarn's special to me because that is my favorite paint color. And I don't know, I just have a weird attachment to it. So that was like the special part of it. And the pattern kind of reminded me of my sister's chainmail jewelry that she makes. So that I was like, that's cool. That's like a fun tie-in. But I started that sweater, and to be honest, I found the pattern really difficult to use. The cable charts were kind of all over the place. I found it very confusing and not intuitive, so I totally lost steam on it. I think I knit both of the bottom ribbings and then knit like 2 rows of cables, and that's as far as I ever got in the past year. So I ultimately decided to just frog that project, save the special yarn, and I think I want to knit something more simple with it. So this year for my birthday cast on in November, I'm going to be casting on that yarn again as a stick season sweater by Rebecca Clow. I just think that sounds really fun to me to knit right now. Something simple, something really classic in this beautiful color. And yeah, I just want to knit something fun and easy for my birthday cast on and maybe not so complex. So I did already go ahead and frog that, and I'm looking forward to casting it back on in November. The other one I feel honestly kind of embarrassed about because I made a whole video about this sweater and this cast on. And maybe you know what I'm talking about, but I frogged my Ooey Gooey. So Andrea Mallory's sweater this year was the Ooey Gooey, which I hate the name. We all know how I feel about the name. But it was a really pretty pattern. It has this very cool kind of wavy and dot motif on the yoke, and I cast this on like the day it came out with yarn I had in stash. And I knit, I got pretty far. Like I knit the ribbing, the welts, which I should have known. I didn't like the welts. I should have just known. I didn't like them. I started knitting the color work, and I was liking the color work, but it was a combination of things. So first, the color spin cycle I was using was more of a warm pink, and the particular part of it that was in the ribbing, I just didn't love having that color that close to my face. It wasn't like quite my favorite shade of pink. Then the welts, I really didn't like the welts. I knew I didn't like them. I was trying to push through, and I just kept coming back to how I did not like the welts as a design detail. The color work motif I did really like. I think it was really pretty, but the other main thing was my main body yarn was a single ply yarn. And the more I started knitting the yoke with mostly that yarn, I just knew that I wasn't liking it and it wasn't gonna work out the way I wanted. And it was a sport weight sweater. And once I got through most of the yoke, the idea of just knitting the rest of it in this like dark single ply yarn in sport weight, I just kind of immediately abandoned it. So I got really excited. I cast it on. I knit most of the yoke in like a few days, and then I just never wanted to touch it again after that. So sadly, I did go ahead and frog it because I think that yarn is going to be better used for what I thought I was going to use it for in the first place, which is a pressed flowers shawl. So that yarn has been frogged, the sweater has been frogged, and I am planning to use that for a shawl in the future. I think that single ply yarn is just going to be much better in a shawl than it is in a garment because it's also very thick and thin. It's Kelborn Woolens Cricket, and I really love the yarn. It's beautiful and soft, but I just think it's not quite right for a garment. So all of those factors conspired to me frogging the sweater, which is kind of a bummer because I've been seeing everyone's versions and they are really beautiful, but wasn't meant to be this year. And I think going forward, I need to be more mindful about this because the same thing kind of happened last year. She released the framed sweater, which was the beautiful quilt motif one. And I do really love that sweater. I think that it's beautiful. But I think I get swept up in the hype of these kind of things. And I really need to take a more critical eye to the design details before I just decide to cast them on. Because last year, the thing that ultimately put me off of it was the neckline. It had that high boat kind of neckline that Andrea Mowry tends to do a lot, and I know that's something that I really don't like to wear. So I really just need to kind of look over those patterns with a fine-tooth comb before I just jump right in. But I hope if any of you are knitting it, you're loving it, but sadly it was not meant to be for me this year. All right, now let's talk about a couple plans. I have a couple knitting plans and I have one sewing plan. And the first knitting plan is for an upcoming class I'm going to be teaching on the pressed flowers kerchief. So I'll put a photo of that pattern here. It's a cute little, kind of like a mini version of the pressed flowers shawl, but it just has the flowers along the edge. And I'm going to be doing a class for this, so to speak, to learn mosaic knitting. So I did pick up yarns from the shop, and I'm going to be using Farmer's Daughter Juicy DK in these two colors. This will be the background, this will be the flowers. So I need to hopefully get that knit up by the end of the month to get my class listed, but I am excited about it. I've been wanting to knit one of these for a while, so I think it'll be, really fun in these colors. Something else I want to do in the next couple weeks, like preferably before October, and I've been thinking about this for a while, is make some seasonal decor with some of my early hand spun. So this is the first skein of yarn I ever spun on my EEW Nano. It is chonky. Like, look at that. A lot of it's unspun. There's not very much of it. I think there's only like 65 yards or something. And it's just this undyed Corriedale. But I still want to use it. Like, I don't want to let it go to waste. So I was thinking, how can I use this really uneven yarn? And I was thinking some crochet or knit pumpkins would be a really cute way to kind of use this up in a home decor item. I might even take them to work as like gifts, let people take some. So I'm going to be doing that with this yarn. And then another early skein that I made from some like art Rolags before I really knew what I was doing at all was this one, which I really love the colors in this, but you can see it's so thick and thin. But I think it's kind of Halloween-y fun colors, so I think I'll make pumpkins in this too. And then one that I may or may not bake pumpkins out of is this one. This was made from Rolags as well. I had two sets of Rolags. These are from a Gem Fiber Arts. And this is a blend of all kinds of stuff: superwash merino, Shetland, silk, Firestar nylon. There's all kinds of stuff in here. But it's 150 grams. I have 365 yards, and it's a pretty solid DK weight, but it's pretty unevenly spun. Like, the black parts were the Shetland, and they weren't incorporated super evenly into the Rolag, so those parts tend to be a little bit thicker. That was also not the softest wool. So part of me loves the idea of using this in like a colorwork yoke. I think that could be really cool, or in stripes, but I don't know. I'm a little bit worried having it like right here on my chest just because the Shetland was pretty scratchy. It would probably be okay. So I don't know. I might use this for pumpkins because it's very Halloween colors, but I also might save this one and use it for something else. I was thinking this could be really pretty as the contrast color in like the Northern Lights Pullover by Sari Norland or something like that, where it has like a big colorwork yoke, but we will see. So that's something I want to do. And then the last thing is a sewing project, which I've actually technically already started, but I've just cut out the pieces. So we're going to a wedding at the beginning of October, and it's black tie. So some of you might remember I made a fancy dress for a black tie wedding that we went to last February. And I decided this year to make another one from the same designer. So I am making the Damsel dress by Roberts Wood. Here's a photo of the pattern. It's very cool. This designer makes such amazing, beautiful, complex patterns, and they are very fun to make. So I'm making the damsel dress. I'm making it in taffeta. It is a two-tone color changing taffeta. So one direction it's navy blue, and the other it is like a burgundy. And I think I'm just gonna look like the prettiest dragonfly at the ball. So I am very excited about this. I cut out the fabric yesterday. I don't have it up here to show you right now, but hopefully you'll be seeing this as a finished object on the next episode, because if not, I'm in trouble and I have nothing to wear to the wedding. So yes, that is a big sewing project I'm going to be embarking on in the next month. All right, I have a couple of acquisitions. The first one is this very cute bag that my mother got me on one of her recent trips. It's a really nice sturdy canvas bag, and it has these cute little painted sheeps on it. So that was really sweet. Thank you, Mom. I have all my other acquisitions in here right now. It's a nice little project bag size. I might start taking this to craft night with me as my craft night bag, because it like stands up really nicely. And so I talked already about most of the yarns that Jess brought, but if you're interested in hearing more about like all of them, because there was so much, she was so seriously so generous. My new Cast-Ons Friday Fiber Chat, I shared most of them there. While she was here, we did do a little shopping, as I said. So we went to Dymad Yarns, which was where we got the yarns for our Dopios. And I did buy one other skein while I was there, which was this. Oh, it's bright. This is their neon tweed fingering. It's 85% superwash merino, 15% Donegal nep, and the color is pink cotton candy. So I've used one of these neon tweed yarns before, but I just really loved this light pink color. I think for socks, she'll be super fun. And while we were there, next door is Craft Raccoon, which is a newly opened art and craft reuse shop. So it's like secondhand craft supplies. And they had a whole bucket of this Tweedy yarn. So there was about 2,000 grams of this yarn. And it was all wound up into these balls. There's really no information about it, but you can tell it's wool. It's a really pretty pink, like light pink base. And then the tweed is just like really pretty. I don't know. There's a lot of it. It's rainbow. We both loved it. So we bought all of it. Like I said, 2,000 grams pretty much. And I think we got all of it for like $50. And we are splitting it up. So we're each going to have a huge quantity of this. Like we're each going to have about 1,000 grams of this yarn. I would guess that it's a DK weight, like a heavy DK light worsted. So I don't know what it's gonna be yet. I think I might want to hold mohair with mine. It's not the softest thing in the world. And I think like a creamy or like a, kind of an oatmeal-y heather would be really pretty with this, or mohair, or Surrey. But yeah, not sure what it's gonna be yet, but something fun, something tweedy, and there is a ton of it. And then one other thing Jess brought me, and this I'm so excited about this. She brought me a sweater quantity of this, which is the Hello Stella fibers, untreated wool, 100% Highland wool, DK weight. The color is 02, but it's just this beautiful light pink. How gorgeous is that label? I just kind of can't get over how beautiful this is. And I knew immediately what I was going to make with this, something I will be casting on in the next month or two. And that is Augustine's, oh gosh, I can never remember which number it is. I want to say it's number 4. I'll put it on the screen, a picture of it. I'll put the name if that's not correct, but I think it's Northern Augustine's number 4 by Anne-Sophie Velling. And I've admired her patterns for a long time, but I haven't knit any of them yet. But I do have plans to knit 2 of them this year. So more to come. This one is like the perfect holiday jumper to me. I think the bows are gorgeous. I'm so excited to knit this. So this is going to be my main color. And while Jess was here, the Knitting for Olive Gaza fundraiser happened, and we both were like planning to order. And I did end up ordering mohair from Knitting for Olive to hold with that. So this is their soft silk mohair in the color Cherry Blossom. So I'll be holding those together for my main color, and it's a pretty perfect match. And then I needed a contrast color. So I ended up getting 2 slightly different shades of red that I'm going to hold together. So the heavy merino that I got is the color Pomegranate, and then the mohair is Red Currant. So the mohair is going to brighten that up a little bit, but I think it'll be a really nice contrast for this. Very holiday. I am planning an alteration to this sweater, so it has probably end up being a couple alterations to this sweater. It has a really chunky, tall ribbed neckband. I'm planning to do just an I-cord because I would like a more open neckline. And I think I'm gonna do it in the red. So I think I'll have a red neckline that'll go right into the red color work. And then this sweater has more of a like bubbly hem. So it has decreases at the hem and a tighter ribbing. So it kind of blouses over. I know I don't want that. I want mine to be a little bit more oversized, a little bit longer. So I will just alter that as I go. And same for the sleeves. The sleeves are really wide, straight sleeves. So I'll probably bring them in a little bit, but I'm really excited to start that. That is it for acquisitions. And then, yeah, I've chatted a bit about Jess's visit. We had a really good time. It was great to see her. Yeah, we went to lots of yarn stores. We sat around and knit a lot. We watched a lot of Star Trek. Troy and I are watching it for the first time, the older series. We started with Next Generation, so that's what we're watching now. No spoilers, please, but if you're a Trekkie, you can let me know in the comments below. We're really, really enjoying that, so that was fun. We went out to lots of good restaurants. We went to Book Loft, which is like an iconic bookstore here in Columbus, Ohio. It has like 36 rooms of books. It's a little old German house. It's very cool. Yeah, we just had a great time. It was great to see her. If you're watching, Jess, hello. It was great to see you. We cast on lots of projects together, of course. Yeah, it was really good. Like I said, I just finished teaching my first class at So to Speak, and I do have some exciting classes coming up, so I thought I would just mention them really quickly, and I'll have them linked down below too if you're interested in checking them out, if you're local or know anyone who is. So going forward, I'm doing a once a month make and mend knitting workshop. So all the dates are posted on the website, but once a month, it's a 2-hour session where you can kind of just bring any project you want to work on. If you need support with like a technique or a specific project, I'm there for you to help you with whatever you need. I am also doing a supported knit along for the West Knits in Cal, which I'm really excited about. We've had a couple people sign up for this already. It is going to be basically we all knit the shawl together. So whether you want extra help with the techniques or you just want some accountability to help you stay on track, we're all gonna knit the shawl together in person, and we're gonna try and finish it in a month. I'm also teaching Intro to Stranded Colorwork in October. We're gonna be doing a doodle cowl, which I'm really excited about. And then I'll be offering my sock knitting 101 class again in November. So that's what I've got coming up teaching wise. And also on the radar is the wool gathering, which is in 3 weeks, I think. That is in Yellow Springs, Ohio. They do it every year. It's a really nice, smaller fiber festival. I've been a couple of times, really excited to go again this year. It's on my mom's birthday. We're going on the Sunday. That's my mom's birthday, so we're gonna go together, and I'm sure we'll find all sorts of goodies. So yeah, really excited about that. If you are there, if you happen to run into me, please definitely say hi. I would love to chat with you in person. And that is it. I feel like this was a really long episode today. So thanks for hanging in there. If you made it this far, you're the best. You know, please like and subscribe. I always forget to say that, but it really does help the channel grow. We've had some new subscribers lately, and it's always good to see some new faces around here. I really love talking to you all in the comments, hearing what you're working on. So please say hi. Let me know what you've been doing while you were watching this. And yeah, that's all I got for you today. I'll be back with another Friday Fiber Chat video next week. Not sure what it's going to be about yet, but I will see you then. And I hope you get lots of making time in, and I hope you can enjoy some early fall weather. So until next time, happy knitting, happy crafting. I will see you then. Bye.